Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Decision Hour. I'm your host, Adam Bird, and folks, I got a special guest for you lined up today. I'm super stoked to bring this young lady on. She is a self-love advocate, loves sharing her story, spending a lifetime filling her insides with outsides, only to feel lost and unfulfilled. She's working on her first memoir called Enough that will inspire women to reclaim their power and cultivate a loving relationship within themselves. And she has many other hats that we're going to dive into, but we're going to jump on in this right now. So please help me welcome Aubree Nichols. Aubree, how are you doing?
Fantastic today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love it. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm ready to dive in.
Well, good stuff. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so really I could start anywhere, but about myself. So I don't want to describe myself by like I am a writer or I am a consultant, because really I'm just like a ball of energy that's like love and like bubbly, and I'm optimistic, and I'm creative. I'm a light bringer. Those are all the so I do many things, and I say, like, sometimes I get in this place of being a human doing, not a human being.
Right.
But first and foremost, I'm a human being who has these, the essence of who Aubree is, and I try to bring that in all that I do.
Yeah. All right. So, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, the next question. You're working. I want to go with this because it says that you are a self-love advocate. What does that mean in your words?
Well, that means for me, I'm spreading and sharing the message of self-love. And this message is that the relationship that you have with yourself is foundational for everything else in your life. And I'm talking about, I, up until 6 years ago, spent a lifetime of beating myself up, hating myself, for all that I was, everything about myself. And there was a point in my life, which we can get into later, where I just said, enough. I am enough of like beating myself up. And so I believe that self-love heals all. And if more women were able to cultivate a loving relationship with themselves, then a lot of things would change. Maybe I would, maybe the Me Too movement wouldn't have happened. Maybe women would have spoken up because hey, don't touch me there. Maybe we would close the pay gap. And I feel like it's a bigger impact than just like getting manicures and pedicures and self-care and buying yourself flowers. All that stuff is really lovely, but it's about tending to your emotional well-being and being your own best friend and advocating for yourself and championing yourself and hyping yourself up, I
freaking love it. I love all of that what you're saying. And this may be a shock to a lot of you. I'm not a woman. I am a guy, but everything that you're saying is really key. And it kind of hits home for me on a personal level and stuff like that. I think, I have female friends that have gotten into a dark corner in their lives where they're feeling down or whatnot. And it's when you try to bring them out, it's one thing for me to say something and I'm a loving person. It's like, hey, no need, you try to be encouraging, but you really have to, as you said, self-love, they have to be their own best friend and bring themselves, up. And I think that's huge. You have a quote, and it's staring at me. And since I've gotten your stuff, I'm just like, wow, this is cool. So I'm going to share it with everybody. My intention is to illuminate the darkness so that others may live in the light. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when you wrote that? I first off, I absolutely love that. I mean, that is powerful right there, because I'm a vision type guy too. So all of a sudden, I could picture like in a dark cave with no light or something like that, and then all of a sudden, if you're walking in or whatnot, it just illuminates everything. share? I mean, do you remember when you wrote that? I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's really cool.
No, it's okay. I think it was 2016 when I was really honing into my why and why am I here and my purpose statement. And, I think if I had to name a superpower, my superpower would be vulnerability. And for some reason, I have done it all, snorted it all, drank it all, partied it all, and come out on the other side. And I feel, although like those are my experiences, I feel like that those were my gifts because I am able to tell other people like, hey, I went through it too, and they won't feel alone. So alone. So when I say I want to illuminate the darkness, I want to say like, hey, I did that. Hey, you're okay. You did this. Well, I did that. And there's a sort of, can we use, it's like, I like a zero fucks. Like I, for some reason, feel very emboldened to share my truth. And for example, in my corporate consulting life, if somebody goes to my website and they don't like who I am and what I stand for and the boldness that I bring, then they just won't hire me. They're not my people. But and so I really feel like in all my writing, coming out of divorce, and why my first article that I had to call my mom and dad and say, hey, mom and dad, you're not going to want to read this. It's, why I'm grateful for fuckboys. It's just being able to call it like it is, because I was at a place where I was coming out of a marriage where all I was capable was like having some sexy time with someone who looked really good. Emotional connection was not in, my realm of capabilities. So I just have this ability. I like to bring all the realness.
I can respect that so much because our listeners know that I have zero fucks about anything. And I said, listen, I look at life like this. You might not like what I say right now, but you'll respect it because you know that I'm being fucking real with you. Like that's, I mean, I'm not especially friends. Like if I'm a friend of yours and you don't like what I say, at least you can be pissed at me all you want. That's fine. But before you go to sleep at night, you're going to think about the conversation. You're like, fuck, Bird was right. I get it. It's because I care. I'm a caring person.
Yeah.
I want to jump into a question with you right now. You're on a show called The Decision Hour. And we all make decisions, right? Every day we got to make decisions. Name a time in your life where your feet were on the line and you had to make that decision. What was the decision? What was the atmosphere like?
Like a big decision, a little decision, any sort of
any
decision.
What's the decision that pops into your head?
I think the biggest one for me was being able to get sober 15 years ago. Wow. And it wasn't even for me an alcohol problem, and it was more of alcohol was the gateway to a lot of things. Yeah. That didn't go well.
Right.
And I think, being able to live a drug and alcohol free life has been something that I've showed myself I can do one day at a time, 15 years later. So that feels very esteemable. And I think that to show myself whenever I'm worried about other things, I'm like, I can always lean on that and say, well, you've got this.
That's awesome.
So that was a big decision that I made. That was a bigger one.
I appreciate you sharing that. I really do. And congratulations on that. That's huge. Aubree, I'm going to change this up again.
Sure.
You're working on a memoir right now.
Yes.
Called Enough. Talk about that with the listener. Where did that come from in the name Enough? Like what exactly does that mean?
So enough, and the subtitle is How I Stopped Searching, Starving, and Striving and Became the Woman of My Dreams, is based off my lifetime experience of growing up in Texas, you know, had, never being quite perfect enough and having this sense of lack, and a lifetime of like filling my insides with the outsides, from the drug addiction to the unavailable men to things that I thought would fix me and fix that empty hole inside of me. So the last straw, or the last attempt at that, I walked down an aisle and thought, I'm going to hand over my emptiness to this man and he's going to make me whole. So that was in 2013. I married someone, and alas, it didn't work again. And I really did had to. I really had to say at that moment I had to leave that marriage that was suffocating my soul, but take ownership for walking down, for marrying someone, and again an attempt to like heal me. And that's when I left the marriage. I reinvented myself from the inside out, because unless I didn't, I had this knowing that I would fall into the same sort of relationship again, or this, and so I had to say, like, enough. I am enough as I am, and really get to know myself and reinvent myself from the inside out. And that's when I started on this self-love journey. And that's what the book is really about. It's like looking at all of that lifetime of my attempts to fill the gap. And it's like, you're like, are you never going to get it, lady? It doesn't work. And at the end, she finally gets it. I got it, guys.
I love
only
it.
I can love myself. I mean, I set the tone for how I love myself. And then people can, yeah.
Is it one of those where like, if you don't love yourself, how do you expect other people to love you, kind of a thing?
Well, if you don't love yourself, then, you treat other people how to treat you. So, we sort of are magnetized. We find our emotional equals. So there's no way that I would vibe with my ex with who I am today. There's no way, because he didn't feel good about himself. Neither did I. We were perfect for each other. And it's like, thank God for him. Thank God for that relationship, because I was able to get on the right path and being able to know that, oh my God, this is my purpose in life. And to be able to share that with others, and, and sort of writing, I think is my platform. It's my foundation of how the way I communicate.
Do you want to give, let's give everybody your information so they can follow you on social media, right?
Sure. Yeah.
When you're on,
so Instagram is my platform. If you like an R-rated Instagram, if you like a lot of like F-bombs,
like no bullshit really type, you guys got to check your stuff out. Like, I was checking it out earlier and I was just like, this gal's cool. Like, I can't.
Yeah. So it's Aubree, AUBREE .Nichols, NICHOLS. Really, just dive in there. You have permission, because there's a lot of, I just try to like bring all the realness, but I also try to like bring some solution with it, and like how I did it. Because it's not an easy road. It's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Everyone doesn't do this internal work because it's hard.
It really is. Man, there's so many, and I'll talk to you offline about that, because there's just like so many other things coming up that we're gonna have to have you back on the show. I think, because I could think of a couple other things. Enough. The memoir. When is that? You're in the middle of writing that now, or that's about to come out? Or?
Yeah, so I'm shopping it, trying to secure an agent.
Okay.
And because I have to work, because I'm a consultant in my real life, once I sort of get signed with an agent and a publisher, then I'll start writing it. But it's, when you shop a proposal, it's sort of like, it's pretty baked. You just got to get in there and set aside the time.
No, I get it. I've done publishing and stuff myself, so I know the process all too well.
Yeah.
And for those you brought up consulting, I want to bring this up because you brought it up, and I know we have listeners out there, and I've checked out your website, and I know for a fact you got quite the resume, and clients and stuff that you have worked with on that. Can we talk just a little bit about that? First off, let me back up here, folks. If you're listening to the show right now, go to Instagram, follow her. 1, 2. Open up another browser and go to her website. Check out her website. It's www.aubreenicholls.com. AUBREENICHOLS.com.
Yeah, so I think, Adam, what I do for work is I say I grew up working in creative ad agencies, advertising agencies. I was a brand strategist, doing a lot of consumer research and insight. And I got to a point, after, 10 years into my career, where I was at a big agency, and I was really more focused on, I think I was beat down, and my creative teams were beat down by this toxic environment that the ad agencies, this toxicity in these creative cultures. And I said, there's got to be a better way. So I left ad agencies. I went out to work on my own, and I'm the daughter of an oil man in Texas who is an entrepreneur, who I always say, hey, Dad, why don't you, go get a real job like the other dads? And now he has a company of 150, and he's just, I've always been a self-starter and had an entrepreneurial mindset. So I went to grad school. I got a master's in organizational change that specializes in leadership development and culture transformation. So now I do a lot of the organizational change work inside organizations, specifically creative organizations, where I try to nurture creative environments and heal the environments that I once worked in through stuff that feels good, that doesn't hurt.
So you go into these organizations, you work with like their teams and stuff like that, and try to bring the teams, like if hey, morale's down, they bring you in and be like, hey, we're gonna change that shit around right now, kind of a thing.
Yeah, with workshops, with programming. I mean, ideally, it's really hard to make headway into some of these creative organizations, because they don't really see the problem. But there's lots of organizations that do. There's so much work to be done in this area. And then I don't do as much of the in-agency work anymore, but I do a lot of consumer and brand research. So I go shop with people, I do ethnographies, go in people's homes, look through their closets, their refrigerators. For big brands like Chanel, I'm going to be doing some Chanel work in a week now. I just got off a Samsung project, Apple, Johnson & Johnson. So yeah, big brands that want to know like how consumers live, so they can figure out how they need to connect with them, what sort of products they want, how they live their lives.
That's pretty cool.
It is so cool. I love it.
Like walking in, oh, what do you got there? Huh. Just taking. I mean, like how'd you fall? I gotta ask, because now it's more of a personal thing. Like, how'd you fall in on something like that? You're just like, hey, I'm gonna go into this person's house, or I got a list of people. Like, hey, I'm gonna go into your house, and hey, let me check out what so and so. I mean, how'd you fall into that?
It's like I've always been a noticer, and I've always just been like, I'm an empath and extremely sensitive. So it's like, and very curious about why people do the things they do and why they buy the things they buy. And so I think through my experience of working in ad agencies, that was a little niche of the job, that research. And that's the job that I really loved doing. I call myself like a consumer whisperer. I'll get in there.
Oh, I like that.
It's amazing. Like, I was sent to research sponges, and, a big company wanted to figure out sponges. So, I mean, you would be surprised of how emotional the cleaning category is. I mean,
really?
Because there's Yes, because there's so much pride in having a clean home. And
So you're looking at people's products and stuff, and you're tying the emotional aspect of it. Like, you bought this, like,
yeah,
not because it was $2 cheaper or whatever, which might have been the case in some cases, but it's more or less because it's like maybe it's a smell or something like that. So
elicits it or reminds them of their mom, or it reminds them of their mom that couldn't provide for them like they can provide for their kid, and so they're able to do it now, and they bought them a home, and how powerful that is. They have so much pride in the home that they bought that they want to keep it clean. I mean, I'm talking tears.
Wow,
It's pretty amazing.
Right now. Like, wow, that's really cool. There's a lot of science and stuff. And it never would have thought, like, cleaning supplies.
Right. I know. It's like a zero involvement category. People are like, just throw it in. Don't think about it. But if you dig a little deeper, which is why, again, I try to illuminate the darkness for my clients so they can live in the light, so they can really understand that indeed it's a highly emotional category, but you just got to know where the levers and barriers are for people.
Man, Aubree, we're coming up on time here, and I wish we had more time. I'm gonna have you back on the show again.
Great. I'd love to come back.
Very eye-opening, awesome, and I appreciate your time, folks. Again, make sure you follow Aubree on Instagram. Open up another browser. Go to her website, aubreenichols.com. As always, we'll always have this stuff up on the Heroes Media Group website, as well as the Decision Hour social media pages and whatnot. Before we let you go, though, is there anything else you want our listeners to know?
Yeah, I do. There is one thing. Just take just today, or how about today, or for the next, through the end of the week, just listen to the inner dialogue, like the way that are running in the back of your head. And I guess that what I would like you to know is you are not your thoughts. So, you can choose which thoughts to energize, and just choose to energize the good ones, and the good ones that pump you up. You have my permission to only energize the thoughts that make you feel like you're a Beyonce strolling down the street, like you are a baller, and you can rule the world. You're going to make a lot of money. You are lovable. You are capable. You are confident. Just those are the thoughts that we want to bring life to. The other thoughts, they don't serve us. We need you to shine. That's what I want to leave you with.
Shine, everybody. Shine. Aubree, thank you very much. Folks,
you're so welcome.
That is all the time that we have. We're going to make sure we have all of her contact information, her website, and her social media stuff up. Make sure you check her out, follow her, reach out. Also, got to give a shout out to our home network, Heroes Media Group. Check out all the shows, articles, and new stuff that's coming up here in the next couple months over at Heroes Media Group. Simply go to www.heroesmediagroup.com. I'm Adam. Until next time, you've been listening to The Decision Hour.